I wonder what it's going to be like when that rock falls down into the creek. How far is it going to go, you know? Poop. Poop, poop. Hard to say. I'm sure it'll make a rumble. Good morning. It's day 151. A couple things to recount. A couple things to describe. As the first rays of dawn are striking me. I camped here on a sandbar on Mission Creek. It's not even, I'm literally kind of in the middle of Mission Creek here. Two things. First, as one does a through hike like this, one becomes very attuned to the rhythms of nature. So as I'm recording this, it's a couple days past the full moon. Still a lot of illumination from the moon, and with very clear skies here in the desert. It was bright all night long. Very distinct moon shadows. Very beautiful. I probably could have hiked by moonlight only. In some ways that sort of light is better because you, like sunlight, you have much greater peripheral vision. It's not just like hiking by headlamp. So I knew that. I knew it was going to be a couple days past the full. And it is at the point now where before the moon sets, the sky is starting to lighten. So it gives me a window that I can actually start before dawn. Get all packed up and go and stuff like that. Now, I didn't do that today, but I could have. And being out in nature day after day, being attuned to natural cycles like this, it just sort of becomes part of your life. Yesterday was really hard. It was harder than I really thought it was going to be, given the fact that it was mostly downhill. Mission Creek is very difficult to negotiate. You can kind of get a sense of it here. Let me swing around this side. So one of the braids here is just right down by my camp. There's another one further there. Back over here, that earlier this year, I'm sure that was a roaring creek. And this is always just completely washed out every year. I fell twice yesterday. I was feeling pretty smug about myself and my sense of balance that I hadn't fallen in, 1,000 miles or something like that. Well, I fell twice. First time could have been more serious. Got maybe a little bruise on my forearm, but that was the only injury at all. The second one, I'm still amazed that I can appear on camera with you today with teeth. I fully expected in the moment after I fell down that I had no more teeth. And what happened, this was after dark, I was hiking by headlamp. I was going slow. I was trying to take it easy. I was trying to take it very carefully. And I stepped on what should have been a very stable, a very large rock. And sort of like the very serious fall that I had in Montana on the CDT. Well, I didn't trip, I didn't slip, I didn't do anything. It just gave way underneath me. And as I fell forward, I put up my trekking poles, and I hit something that I can only describe as quicksand. May not technically have been quicksand, but it was along one of these braids of Mission Creek, and it was just sort of muck that just, I mean, went completely in. And so my momentum continued forward without really anything to break it. And there's a boulder right there, and I hit right there on the boulder. And, you know, I had a bang, and then I'm like, okay, I have no teeth. That was my first thought. And I'm going, no, well, I think I still have my teeth. I was amazed. And then I started looking for my trekking poles. One was still in my hand. The other one was missing. I looked for probably 10 or 15 minutes before I could find my second trekking pole. I had almost given up. I'm like, what am I going to do without a second trekking pole? I thought it was lost in this mucky quicksands kind of stuff. And perhaps it had gone in there, and I eventually found it about maybe 20, 30 feet sort of downstream. Maybe I had just, you know, tossed it, that kind of thing. But it occurs to me also, and I've told people this over the years several times, all really great trail names are true in more than one sense and appropriate to the person in more than one way. And so I'm thinking today that I'm like a feral cat. You know, I have 9 lives. I have had so many close shaves. Ugh. And last night when I was in my tent, a couple times I started to replay this event of the second fall. And I just started like shaking, you know. I mean, it was almost like a panic attack. And I had to tell myself, okay, you're not even going to think about this. Just go to sleep. Just don't even think about it. I can describe it today, you know, now to you, you know, in the light of day, but even last night it was still pretty harrowing to me. Okay, I have 20 miles to go today, so it's going to be a long, tough day again. A few miles here are along Mission Creek. I climb up, I know, and then descend into the Whitewater Canyon, which is kind of like a larger, flatter version of Mission Creek here. And then I climb up out of the Whitewater Canyon, go over a ridge or two, and then make my way to the underpass under the I-10 freeway. So a lot of stuff to get done. And yeah. Okay, that's San Jacinto, the northern peak of the San Jacinto Range. Look at those clouds breaking in. Looks like a snowbank almost, or maybe a massive surf wave crashing over the shoulders. Hope we don't get weather up there. Well, I've now reached the Whitewater River. It's right there. I mean, it's just tiny at this point. But you can see how, when this gets rain, and I don't know when the last time, this particular area was flooded. I'm guessing it was this year. I can't imagine it would be this firm unless it was relatively recent. So this river gets very, very wide when it gets precip. And, kind of deep too, because the difference between like where I'm standing now and the riverbed has to be at least 10 feet. So it should be pretty easy to ford. I may get my feet wet. Going over Mission Creek, I probably forded, 50 times today already. So shoes are drying out, but still wet. Well, I'm making the last, little less than 2 miles to the I-10 interchange. It is an interchange there. Very, very minor one. It's after dark, obviously. It's a little before 6 p.m. I think I'm going to try to get there by 6:10, 6:15, I think I estimated. I've made a good time on the last, what was it, 15 miles since I hit Whitewater or left Whitewater, up over a couple steep climbs. It's interesting, I just got a text from Gav and Claire, a couple from England, who I met first, I think, in the Glacier Peak Wilderness, and they finished a few days ago. We've been sort of chatting back and forth, and they said, well, this might be too late, but just make sure you allow enough time for the Mission Creek and Whitewater river, because it's very, very slow going. And they even said, be very careful if you're hiking by headlamp. And all I could think of was my faceplant on the rock last night. Yeah. So they were spot on. And truth to tell, my time today, I've pulled a couple dunderheads. I overshot the exit from Mission Creek Valley, and when I was getting water to leave Whitewater, or when I was checking when the next water was, somehow I thought there was water between Whitewater Creek and I-10, and it turns out there isn't. So I had to backtrack to the Whitewater River, across that, nasty rock-strewn terrain, in and out of various dry gullies. Got water, went back to where I'd been, started to approach the climb, and there was a side creek of the Whitewater River that was actually much, much clearer water than the river itself, which is full of all sorts of sediment, which gives the river its name, because it sort of looks like a vanilla milkshake. So I've sort of been my own worst enemy, and I could have been here, an hour earlier when it was just sort of getting dark. Now it's just dark, and the moon won't rise for another hour or so. Okay, I'm going to try to get to the interchange. I'm going to try to get an Uber into Banning or Beaumont and get what will probably be my last laundry and probably my last shower for about 11 or 12 days. So, yeah, kind of important. And it's also going to be my very last, what do we got here? Going around something. It's fenced off somehow. Okay. And it's probably going to be my last store resupply. I'm getting a mail drop in Paradise Valley Cafe. And I should be there in about, I think it's 3 days. Assuming I get into town, get a quick turnaround, get out tomorrow. The weather isn't bad, the creek don't rise, and I don't have a face plant. Lots of things, but we live in hopefulness, don't we?